Why Warren Buffett is buying this stock? How did I detect insider activity on a chart? What's the investor sentiment on social media? Can we trust the dividend payments? Let's take a look at this stock together, guys. If you want a short summary, just skip the video to my plan section. However, if you're interested in long-term investing, let's walk through the full picture together. UnitedHealth Group, the giant healthcare company from United States, which is doing two main things: insurance and health services. It's the biggest insurance stock by market cap and revenue in the United States. As an interesting note, before we start, let's define what is the perfect undervalued stock and when better to buy it. You need to pick a boring, high quality business. This is the insurance company. Look for temporary, non-fundamental scares and focus on areas of high emotional selling. This is exactly what is happening right now for this stock, and I will show you on a chart together with insider activity. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned that Buffett is buying this stock. So basically for us, this is super good sign that smart money joining to our chart. You can see here his portfolio and the United Health Group here, which was bought by around $300 per share. And this is exactly the same price as of today for this stock on exchange. So definitely we are not too late in my opinion. I want to buy something fundamentally strong for years, what I can hold even during bad times in worst case scenario. So the stable dividends are quite important for me. Let's take a look at the history. Starting from 2020, I can see that they are paying quite stable dividends year by year, and you can also notice that they are increasing amount per share each year. So this is quite good sign that in such a unstable market situation right now, we can buy it for really long term. And also now we can take a look at the financial health just to prove ourselves that the company indeed is doing well as of today. I prepared a small presentation for you. I know this might be quite boring, but if I personally invest my money, I prefer to know what is financial health of the company I'm putting my money in. So you can see that the revenue is consistently growing year by year, starting from 2021, and you see the beautiful uptrend. The operating income is quite stable and large, and for me it looks okay. The only risk I can see is total debt. Unfortunately, it's also the uptrend starting from 2022. But I personally see that the debt is manageable in this case. Because if you divide total debt by operating cash flow, you will get the beautiful ratio, which is saying that they might pay the debt in around 3.5 years. So usually when the company can pay off all debt in 3-4 years, it's considered quite safe, at least in my opinion. Another thing is that they hold huge cash reserves. So if needed, they could immediately pay around 35% of all debt just by using cash instantly. This is high cash buffer. And also net debt is much lower than total debt. So it means that they don't really feel the full debt because a big portion is paid by cash they hold. And the last thing is that debt is small compared to their company size. You can take a look at the numbers here, and also for comparison, I I'm providing you the numbers that banks often have around 85% debt to assets, and telecom companies around 50-70%. So United Health stock have only 25%, and it looks quite safe in my opinion. And now let's take a look at the chart. Usually this is the most interesting part for me because you can identify the zones where you can buy and sell. You can combine all facts and events and see what is happening under the chart. So as a first step, I wanted to show you the publicly available list of transactions by insiders. I want you to look at these three transactions which happened on 15 and 16th May. The first transaction was from Steven, who is chairman and chief executive officer of UnitedHealth Group, quite big volume. Second guy is John, who is president and chief financial officer, and Kristen is independent director of UnitedHealth Board. Let's take a look at the daily chart and represent the days where they were buying. So they were buying the local dip, as you can see, and the most interesting thing here is the volume. So the volume historically, so many years ago, was on some small amount comparing to what happened with volatility later. So look that the biggest volume historically was just in this year on May, when those guys were buying. And later in exactly same level was second buy, but this buy unfortunately is out of publicly available list. The Warren Buffett was buying somewhere here. So in my opinion, I can mark this zone as the accumulation phase. Let's now come back to weekly chart, and you can see that now it's typical support from technical analysis. To a bit better understand the company, let's also look at the events, which are quite important in my opinion, because I strongly believe that one group of events significantly impacting the price and the second group is just ignored. So it's very important to understand the first group to understand the behavior and sentiment of the investors and also their fears. So the first event was when CEO has been killed and price dropped. And the second one in near past, it's when first quarter earning report didn't meet expectations from investors and the price dropped to our accumulation phase in around 60%. It's quite big drop in fear I mentioned before. Now let's take a look at the weekly chart once again and mark historical accumulation phase. It's quite important to understand where investors were accumulating the shares in past. And since we can mark two zones which took 3 years each, I personally expect that the price in the future will bounce between them. So my personal plan is to follow the accumulation phase and daily buy super small portions, buy shares here, and expect that in near future the price will come back to the previous accumulation phase after the local panic. I also understand that nobody is always right on the market and your scenario shouldn't play all the time. So I just have a plan B. It's when the price will go below accumulation phase I just drew. So in this case, I just reduce my position and hold the shares, assuming it paying the dividends. And we already discussed it's quite stable for this company. And later, when the price will come back to accumulation phase, I will take a next decision. And the last thing I want to share with you is sentiment analysis for UnitedHealth stock from social media. This is my personal bot, which is generating the report for me on daily basis. I'm not selling this. I'm just wanna share with you here, since I believe that small investors should share the knowledge and play against big players, since they have much more tools than us. So I just see that my bot saying that sentiment is currently mostly bullish. There's also explanation why. You can take a look. There's small percentage of bearish sentiment as well. There are reasons. I think it's also partially a risk, but I personally believe the Warren Buffett move, financial statements, and things I see on the chart together with insiders' visible movement. This is my first video, so please don't throw stones at me. Just subscribe to the channel if you found it valuable. And as usual, this is not a financial advice. It's just my personal view on the market, which I want to share and discuss with you guys in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.